Still talking about that game from last night. Jays fans couldn't ask for a better opener to the first World Series appearance since the 90s, and it has lit up the faithful with an unreal performance.
Championship Series, what we got? Varsho in the air to center field. Pages going back, turns, watches, and it's gone and tied.
It feels like just yesterday when Dalton Varsho, with one swing of the bat, ties this one up at 2 each. He is pumped. Emmett Sheehan on the relief for the Dodgers. Ernie Clement smacks the RBI single off him. Toronto grabs their first lead of the game, 3-2 Jays. Bases loaded for Nathan Lucas. He comes back from being down 0-2 in the count to draw a walk. That brings in Alejandro Kirk, 4-2 Jays. Andres Jimenez keeps things going with another RBI single. Still no outs. And the Jays now up 5-2. Of course, that was not all. Then this happens. A major league first thanks to Addison Barger.
Sixth. And a high drive to deep right center field. It is gone.
You can't make this stuff up. Bases loaded. Barger hammers the grand slam. The Jays actually scoring 9 runs in that amazing 6th inning. It's the first pinch hit grand slam in World Series history. Jays roll on to an 11-4 win over the Dodgers. You can bet Toronto fans can't wait for Game 2 tonight.
What a way to make your World Series.
You were going to get into the game and then the whole at-bat there.
Yeah, so they had been talking to me for the last inning or so, to get ready. Might come in and, yeah, they kind of just told me when Davis is in the hole, you're going to hit here. And then, yeah.
And that at-bat.
Yeah, obviously they brought in the lefty for me. And I was just trying to put the ball in play, get a run home, hopefully. That was kind of my only goal, and it ended up working out better than that.
That's kind of how we roll, So much credit to the guys up and down the lineup being ready to come into the game. They were ready during BP, talking to Nate, talking to Izzy, Addy. Those at-bats in that inning, starting with Bo's walk, then a knock, it kind of just kept on going. But those were some pretty terrific at-bats from everyone up and down the order, yeah.
What's making you so emotional when you think of those thoughts?
Just thinking about my 2 nephews getting to have the same connection me and my brother did at that time, and our dad bringing us to games during that season. And we still have a baseball that's signed by all the players from '93 sitting on my mantle at home. So we're hoping to get another one here, boys.
Yeah.
Let's go, Jays.
What do you think that this team has done for this city and just kind of energizing this city, the camaraderie these guys show? It looks like they're having fun there playing together.
We definitely needed it. 2019 was a great year with the Raptors, and first time in franchise history for them. 32 years later, the Jays are right back in it, and we're making another generational family memory here.
Joining us live now is TSN Radio's Matt Cauz. Matt Cauz, have you come down from the high of that game yesterday?
It was incredible. It was simply incredible. Also, that fan there, I started getting choked up a little bit, watching him getting choked up about it, because it's such a good point. I'm old enough to remember the 92-93 World Series. Then after that, there was nothing. You had Jose Bautista and that era, but that only lasted a couple of years. And now you're going to have another generation of fans, and they're going to be talking about the Barger Grand Slam home run. And as you mentioned, World Series history, never been a Grand Slam by a pinch hitter. The World Series, the first year they did it, 1903. So that's pretty remarkable history. The Varsho home run. I mean, there were so many incredible moments from last night.
I got to say, I've talked to more than a few people outside of Rogers Center who've gotten tearful about this whole experience, this magic that the Jays are bringing to the city right now. Can you walk us through that 6th inning? Because, yeah, we saw those hot bats from the likes of Addison Barger and from Alejandro Kirk. But really, there was a lot that went into setting the table to knock it out of the park.
Oh, absolutely. And who got it started? It was Bo Bichette started it with a walk. That's going to get forgotten. And I understand why, because they scored 9 runs. But that, to me, is one of the critical parts, was the guy we wondered, would he be able to contribute? And Bo Bichette did. Also had a very good defensive play in the 3rd inning. But it was just how relentless the Blue Jays were, working an 0-2 count into a walk. Dalton Varsho getting hit by Blake Snell, and then Snell's out of the game. And then it's just single, slowly. And then eventually the big home runs start coming. And it kind of speaks to the Jays offense that they can beat you every way. And also the Jays offense in terms of home runs, they were average in the regular season in terms of hitting home runs. They've been the best in baseball in the playoffs. It has been an incredible hot stretch by those batters at a very timely fashion.
Yeah, of course, earlier in the game, too, we saw Dalton Varsho get that homer there, also helping the Jays get to that 11-4 win. You know, for baseball fans, for Jays fans who maybe aren't watching the Dodgers all that often because it's not, you know, a super regular thing that we meet up with them. Was this kind of an average game for Dodgers? Is this what we were expecting from them?
This is absolutely not what you're expecting. And you're right, you're not going to be watching the Dodgers. Those games started like 9, 10 o'clock at night. I feel bad for when you're working on CP2 for how early you had to get up for some of your assignments. So what's remarkable about that performance, not that Shohei Ohtani, you know, struck out a couple times or whatever, it's that Blake Snell got chased. Blake Snell has appeared in 3 playoff games this year. And Blake Snell just gave up more hits and more earned runs last night to the Blue Jays than he did against Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and the Milwaukee Brewers. And Milwaukee, by the way, finished with the best record in baseball. That, for me, was the #1 thing that we were looking for. Could the Jays bats chase these starters out early? And they were able to do that last night. And that'll be the key tonight with Yamamoto, who the last time on the mound, that guy went 9 innings. You know, it's something we don't see in the playoffs anymore in baseball. We haven't seen that since maybe 1903. So, I mean, that's like the main thing I'm going to be keeping an eye on.
Yeah, so what are the expectations for tonight? I mean, are we going to see another blowout here? It sounds like it might be a more competitive matchup.
Yeah, I never expect a blowout when it is the Dodgers. Yamamoto has been their best starter all year. He's been great in the playoffs. Trust me, I was shocked by them getting the 9 runs. It's nothing against the Jays offense. We've seen them overwhelm good pitchers before. We saw it against Seattle. We saw it against the Yankees. But just considering how dominant the Dodgers have been on this playoff run, I don't expect a blowout. I think also psychologically, that's such a huge win for Toronto because going into the series, they heard about how they were the underdog. And they deserve to be the underdog. The Dodgers do have more talent. It's, again, nothing against the Blue Jays. But for them to push around LA, for them to be able to control, for the most part, the Dodger power and to get Blake Snell out of the game, that's got to be confident for the team where it was all about underdog, David versus Goliath. Well, if it is David versus Goliath, that was a pretty remarkable slingshot they had last night.
Yeah, you could tell that Snell was pretty shocked by the whole experience. I mean, just his face when he was in the dugout, you know, so down there. I wonder what kind of reaction you might be hearing in the baseball world from the LA side of things. You know, are they stunned by this performance from the Jays last night?
I think they are. They lost 1 game. That was against Philadelphia. Beyond that, they dominated the Phillies, and a lot of people at Philadelphia going to the World Series. And circling back to Milwaukee, Milwaukee did nothing against the Dodgers. They got swept. They could barely register a hit or 2 against the starters. The Dodgers were so good. Going into Game 4 against Milwaukee, Shohei Ohtani was hitting like $160, and it didn't matter. And then we saw Ohtani obviously was brilliant in that Game 4 with the 3 home runs and struck out 10 Brewers. But I think for LA, it's definitely a wake-up call for them. They've had a pretty easy run throughout the playoffs.
I know a lot of the talk today is just about that huge score the Jays got. Of course, that grand slam from Addison Barger. If we didn't see all that activity, we'd probably be talking more about Bo Bichette today. You did mention him already, but seeing his return, does he look like the old Bo Bichette we used to know?
He doesn't look 100%. You can tell he's shuffling around a little bit. There's no way he is 100%. But I think the most remarkable moment wasn't he got a single in the first. And it wasn't even he got the walk in the 6th that started the 9-run explosion. It was about the 3rd inning when there was a hard shot ball that could have gone up the middle. He made a diving grab, stabbed the ball, and then made a really difficult throw to first base to get the batter out. And that moment there, I thought was the most remarkable because he hasn't played second base since 2018, and that was in the minors. So for him to be able to come back and was able to be productive at the plate and just as important defensively and keep it at a 2. The Dodgers could have scored more runs. It helped to hold them to just 2. I thought that was the most remarkable moment for Bo in that 3rd inning.
And quite the ovation from fans, too, who are just so happy to have him back there on the field. TSN Radio's Matt Cauz, thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take care.